Yes, ma'am.
Yes, all right. So we'll start with the session.
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning, everyone. Warm welcome to Confidence Communique. We'll start with the welcome note from Mr. Shai.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very welcome to Confidence Communique initiative by the NOS training founded by the Miss Archana Sriram. Confidence communication is where we talk about real career decision, real confidence struggle, and real communication shift, not theory. But what actually work in the workplace are beyond. My name is Shahid Asraf. I'm AGM HR HRH NMDC Steel Limited, Nagarnar, posted at the Nagarnar, the Bastar Jagdalpur. We meet every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. online via Zoom, and we are also live on the LinkedIn. Every episode feature a new speaker, a new topic, and a live coaching or quiz segment. Because learning sticks when you experience it. We are active on LinkedIn, Instagram, and the Facebook. Links are shared in the chat box. We will also find our website and WhatsApp community link there. Do stay connected. We are on the various social media platform, and our YouTube link is shared in the chat box. Please subscribe to our channel. Also, if you have not joined our WhatsApp community, do join. Your number remains private, and we will get the regular update. We are also excited to share that we have launched a paid online training program for punctuation lab, presentation lab, writing lab. Details are shared in the chat box. Now I am hand over this program to Sri Ravi Prasad Singh, co-founder of the Learning Innovator. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shahid. So to the participants, let me set the context straight before we go ahead with the interaction round. Welcome, Mr. Ravi, for the session. So for the for the setting of the context, let me ask you something. How many of you all believe leadership is about taking decisions, driving results, and managing people? Now, here's a deeper question. How many of you all also think that leadership is also about managing your own emotions, challenging your own beliefs, and being aware of how your behavior impacts others? Because the truth is this: leadership is not just visible on the outside, it is built on what happens internally. And many times, decisions are influenced by emotions, actions are driven by beliefs, and behavior shapes how others experience us. That is why today's topic is so powerful: the hidden side of leadership, emotions, beliefs, and behavior. So, now let me introduce our speaker for today. We have with us Mr. Ravi Pratap Singh, co founder of Learnnovators. With extensive experience in learning, leadership development, and organizational transformation, Ravi brings deep insight into what truly drives effective leadership, not just at a surface level, but from within. His work focuses on helping professionals and leaders understand how internal patterns, that are emotions, beliefs, and behaviors, shape the external outcome. We are excited to learn from his experience today. Participants, please type welcome Mr. Ravi in the chat box. Participants, please type welcome Mr. Ravi in the chat box.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. So now continuing with the discussion. So first and foremost, thank you so much, Mr. Ravi, for taking out time from your schedule and coming for the session. It's really appreciated. I remember how I had just dropped you a simple text or just called you, and in just a short moment of just 2 to 3 minutes, you immediately said okay for it. So thanks a ton for that. We have been interacting from a month almost, I believe.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, about a month and a half.
Okay, cool. So it will be a very beautiful session as well. Okay, so now coming forward to the interaction. First and foremost, Mr. Ravi, in your leadership journey, when did you first realize that leadership is not just about decisions and strategy, but deeply about emotions and internal beliefs? Was there a moment that triggered this shift for you? We would love to hear this.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks Archana, and thanks everybody else for joining this. There may not be one. Obviously, over the years, there are things which happen subconsciously a lot, and you learn over the time and over different experiences. But yeah, I think one incident probably stands out. Um, it was my first job. I was into franchising actually. So setting up IT training centers. So each of us. So I was in the Tamil Nadu region based out of Chennai. So there were about 8, 9 of us handling different. Within the region, you had different sub regions, if I may say that. So I was handling the Trichy belt, Trichy, Tanjore, Mailadurai, Kumbakonam, and all that. So there, basically, what I was doing is I had set up the entire thing literally from scratch. Not the Trichy one, but after that, the smaller setup. So it was a new business model, new franchising model. Nobody had ever, ventured into those kind of smaller tier 2, tier 3 cities. So those centers I had literally done from scratch, built from scratch, identifying the business partners, and then from there on trying to identify where to set up the center, the location, and then the entire build up and how it's done, recruitment. And once they were all set up, about 6, 7 of them centers, and it boomed actually. So all over India, among the tier 2, tier 3 cities, this is the number one, bunch of centers. We did exceedingly well. And so end of the year and a half, whenever the appraisal came, so I was made the regional business head, thanks to my performance in this particular, uh, region. So so I was happy to talk to my boss, and he was like, "Okay, fine, great, you did a fantastic job, and now you're going to handle the entire region." But one of the thing was that, okay, once I handle the region, I need to give up what was this bunch of 6, 7 centers, like I said, around Trichy, Tanjore, Mailadurai, whatever. That came as a shocker to me. For me, these were my babies basically, because I built it from scratch, right from identifying the franchisee onwards to the location, everything else, recruitment and all that. I said, look, I told him, boss, look, don't worry about my performance, because let me take care of this, continue to take care of this. I'll also handle the entire region, because this is something I want to take it to the next level. I've been with them for 1.5 years or so, and I think I need to be with them. Of course, he put his foot down and said, look, I don't think it makes sense, because these are 6, 7 centers. Now I'm supposed to handle them 150 to 153 centers across the region. So you need to focus more on the bigger picture. We had a couple of discussions over the next 2, 3 days, and he was trying to convince me that, look, you need to look at the bigger picture and learn to let go. So that was the catch. He said, learn to let go, because your calling is bigger. Of course, I didn't understand, and I was adamant that I will continue handling this and also ensure that the region does well. The boss didn't listen. He said, sorry, you got to do this. And he, of course, tried to convince me or whatever. So I agreed. And over the next few weeks, maybe 5, 6 weeks, I had let go of that. Another colleague of mine handled that bunch of centers, and I was handling the entire region. But somewhere within me, my fire had gone, because I was like, I felt very demotivated, and this is what I built from scratch, and now I have to let go of that, and blah blah blah, whatever. So yes, the numbers were coming, but the fire was missing from myself. But after 5, 6 weeks, suddenly it struck me, because I was constantly thinking through this, that why am I being unfairly treated? It is not, but in my head it's unfair. And one fine day, it clicked that, look, I need to, whatever my boss told about 5, 6 weeks ago, it clicked that I need to look at the bigger picture. It's not about holding on to the small things. It's leadership is not about holding on to things. You have to let go. You have to let other people also bloom, and pass on the baton, so to say. Once that clicked, suddenly it was a different ballgame, because it was a switch in the head, that I suddenly saw the bigger picture. That, okay, this is one part. Of course, my job there is over. I need to move on. It is coming under me, but somebody is going to handle it. And then I kind of look at the bigger picture. So I think that probably is the first time I thought the emotion of I was doing the same. The job did not change, but whatever was happening inside my head, that changed. You know, so suddenly the energy which was missing came back, and came back multifold. So I think that probably is the incident which stands out, because it kind of clicked inside my head. And leadership sometimes is not about it's not about what you do. It's not only about what you do. It's about what you believe while you're doing it. that belief system becomes very strong. So I think that probably is one instance standard. Because see, after that, of course, I'm handling Tamil Nadu. I went on to handle Kerala, Andhra, Karnataka, and all that, and entire India. Then I went on to handle international business also. But I'm saying that probably was the thing. If I had not let go of that, no, I want to handle Mailadurai, Kumbakonam, I probably would not have grown. And then thanks to my boss, though he didn't strike me immediately, but I think over the years I've carried that lesson with me, saying the emotion and what happened inside the head is much more important. What you believe while you're doing what you're doing, I think changes the game. I think that probably would stand out for me.
That's wonderful to know, Mr. Ravi. Thank you so much for articulating it so beautifully. You know
Sure.
what? The first half of the story was very much like Mr. Steve Jobs. So you started something from the scratch and then leaving it and going off. It's like, oh my God. But then you were rightfully stating that letting go of that emotions and trying to look at it, the bigger picture is what takes you ahead. So thanks
Yep.
a ton for that. We
No
will
worries.
definitely be reaching that phase of life. Many of the participants here may have also witnessed it. We would love to hear from you as well. Please let us know in the chat box if you would have something to share like that, because this is really inspirational for sure. Okay. If you have felt it before, please type yes in the chat box. Maybe at the time of the Q&A round, we would definitely giving you a chance to speak. Now, coming across again to you, Mr. Ravi. Have you
Yeah.
ever experienced a situation where your emotions, like your frustration or self doubt or your pressure, it almost impacted a critical decision? How did you handle yourself in that moment? And what was that particular decision which you had taken? We would love to hear
And this happens literally
daily.
every second day. It's normal,
Every
right?
second.
Yeah, because see, the thing is, no matter what you do, see, some practices you have to do it again and again. It's not that you master it. I may say a lot of things here, but when it comes to practicing, it's not easy. You have to do it day in and day out. It's not like magic. Okay, now I cracked it and that's it. Rest of my life I'm going to be like it. It's not going to happen. So yeah, it happens because see, we are human. We get frustrated. Things are not going away. That deal is not coming through. You talk to the client, and I'm in sales, obviously business development, which means the frustration is higher most of the time because you worked on a client for 6 months, 8 months, and then suddenly the person supposed to take a decision quits, and then some new person comes. You have to start from scratch. So this is regular work, right? Yeah, so the frustration is there, and sometimes you get irritated, and timeline, sometimes project timeline not really happening. It happens all the time. So over the time, see, the thing is, what I've learned, see, there are simple practices. I try to do it. Again, as I said, you can't master it. At least I can't. So which means I have to do it day in and day out, and not think for myself. Okay, let me now sit down and kind of reset myself. So three things I normally do, three practices. One is pause. Now that's an important part, right? Because see, I'm also very, see, any situation, any pressure situation, typically we will react immediately, you know and I do it a lot of times because by nature, I would react.
You don't look like that. Oh my God. Like
No, the
a
thing is,
so
yeah,
calm, composed person, and you're telling me something else.
no, I'm not. But the thing is, I'm working on it, right? So the fact is that the immediate reaction, the immediate thing is to react, because that's what most of us do. Because it kind of gets to you. So what I've learned are three simple practices. First is pause. See, pause is very important, and for me it was very difficult. Just to kind of build a little space. Somebody there's a stimulus there, and you react. Typically, that's what happens, right? There's stimulus and you react. Uh, so the trick which I kind of realized for myself, I'm sure people do it. The thing is just to create that little bit of pause and little bit of gap, so that you don't immediately react to the stimulus, but give a little breathing space. It may sound simple, it's not. Believe me. So you give the breathing space, and then just relax and breathe. That's number one. Pause. Next is notice. Then I pause for a few minutes and then notice, okay, what's happening here, right? Because what am I feeling right now? Is it anger, frustration, desperation? These are emotions normally happen in the situation, right? So you kind of feeling that. So I try to ask, what am I feeling, and why am I feeling it? It could be because of ego. Sometimes the ego is there, right? In situations where your own ego is taking on that thing, and you want to react because of ego. Where somebody says something stupid, and then you're like, what the hell, right? So you have to ask yourself, okay, this is happening, and why is it happening? Because it's an ego, it's a fear of losing the order. For example, from a salesperson, okay, I've worked 6 months on this, and I may lose it. So these are things you ask yourself, basically, and and then just notice it. Basically, you don't have to really judge you what you're doing, but yeah, make the pause, take the pause, notice. Finally, the third thing I feel what I do is choose. See, now the main thing is you've got that gap, the space, and then you have the ability to choose. Because otherwise, if you don't make that pause, you're immediately reacting, to the situation. But you may take the pause, breathe, ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? And then you can choose whether to respond immediately, or respond the regular response, or just buy some time and to yourself, and then choose to react with intent, with intention, not so I think that's helped me along the way, because otherwise what have even emails sometimes I may try to respond at 12:30 in the night or whatever, because I'm awake and whatever. I get a call or an email and I want to respond. uh, Earlier I used to just respond, within the next 2 months. But now I feel, okay, let me just sleep over this. And morning I feel different about it. It could be an internal mail, it could be external mail, client, whatever. So I think those are three things which I do. I take a pause, I notice what's happening inside me, look within, and then I then choose how to respond. And more often than not, I think that's really helped me. In fact, it happened a couple of days ago also. I wrote a mail and then I didn't send it out. Then I thought, okay, let me get up in the morning and then respond to that. So it's a daily practice. Actually, it's not something which happens naturally. So I hope that answers your question. These are simple but difficult to practice. Believe me.
Difficult to practice.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for
This
myself
email
at
thing,
least.
in fact, I tell it to my participants as well when I train on email etiquette. So
Yeah,
the first thing which I inform them always is that when you're getting an email from an angry or frustrated customer, please do not respond. It's
yeah,
okay. Wait for
yeah,
24 hours. And I'm hearing the
yeah.
same thing from you. That's
Absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely true. In fact, this taking a pause, I'm not too sure how many of us would be able to relate to it, but trust me, till my school or college, I was a person who was always very much like how you said, always immediately reactive on the
yeah,
spot, whether it's my class teacher, whether it's my hod, whether it's my friend, my senior, junior, doesn't matter. But
yep.
this aspect of pausing, I started learning it only when I stepped into an organizational front. So I'm
Hmm.
presently at the level of more or less like a founder. So I mean, I am a founder, not more or less
Yep.
in that manner. But what I'm trying to tell is that I am at a phase wherein I am running on my own. But when
Yeah,
I was working as a full timer in an organizational setup, is where I learned the importance of pause. Because sometimes, yes, of course, your leaders, your managers, your superiors will be saying something which you're not able to understand. Or at the moment itself, you know that no, this is a wrong decision. But at that moment, if I immediately react and say, no, sir, you're wrong there, how can it happen?
yeah,
That pause is what we have to do, and that is
absolutely.
the effect wherein communication is actually going to develop, our relationship, our rapport is going to develop, and we can actually scale up the corporate ladder. You're absolutely right in stating that. I second you in that. Participants, please, I would love to hear from you. If you have learned to how manage yourself very well, please type control if you can really manage yourself very well. Please type control if you can manage yourself very well. Let me hear from you all. Oh, wow, wonderful, Mr. Shahib, to hear from you itself. The first and foremost, you've learned control. Thank you so much. We'd love to learn from you. Thank you so much, Miss Meena. Oh, wonderful to see you here as well, Meena. Thank you. Okay, so now coming across to the third question here. Looking back, looking back, Ravi, was there a belief you held as a leader that actually limited your growth, limited your growth or effectiveness? What helped you identify and change that belief?
Yeah, I think the biggest one was that as a leader, I need to have all the answers. Because see, the fact is, like I said, I was in sales. I was a good performer at the cost of sounding immodest, star performer all my life. And you crack deals which felt impossible and whatever. So when I started leading, suddenly I felt that I need to have all the answers, because I am the one people are looking up to. I'm the guiding light. So all that is within your head, right? So what happens? Of course, you're doing it for the betterment of the team and betterment of the organization. And I did it for a fair number of years, because I thought, okay, let me now tell them how to do it. Uh, and then you see that the whole point is, when you do that, the intentions are right, but you're suddenly becoming a micromanager. Because you get into the smallest of details.
Hmm.
So do this, don't do the email, everything I'll check. The full stop and the comma, very particular about the punctuations
Oh
and
my
all, because it
goodness.
has to be, see, the thing is, again, I'm saying it's for good, but at the end of the day, it can completely,
The
uh,
perception is something else.
you perceive something else. Plus, it may see people what they do after a point, they feel anyway this Ravi is going to do it. So why should I even try? You know. So whatever I do, he's going to come and do something, change this full stop here to a comma, whatever. I'm just saying a small thing. So the micromanage, the whole point is where I'm thinking that okay, I'm the one who should have all the answers, and I'm trying to help my team grow. That's my intention. Okay, they have to come to a certain level.
Correct.
Tomorrow they should be able to replace me and all that. But I'm doing the exact opposite. Because I'm trying to make them what do I say? The clones of myself, which is not a great thing.
Close to perfection.
Yeah, because micromanagement, I'm not necessarily looking at listening to different diverse
Mm.
conversations, perspectives. So all of them are I'm trying to make them okay like me. It's not the fact. That's the worst thing that can happen. And then I realized that look, I mean, when you do that, people also don't take ownership. Because like I said, when you micromanage, they feel anyway you are going to make the change. So
So
whatever
true.
I do, they'll do the
Correct.
basic stuff. They'll do basic and then give it to you,
Hmm.
and then you'll do whatever tweaking you want, whether it's a like I said, as simple as an email or even discussion and all that, or strategies. So it took me at least a few years actually to realize the impact that okay, this is happening on the team, because these things don't immediately, you can't see it. To be honest, I couldn't see it at least. And then slowly I realized that look, I mean, it's leadership not about having all the answers actually. It's about creating a space where people can ask better questions, and then new answers can emerge. It's not about me. Obviously, I may have answers, but somebody else may have better answers than me for that particular situation or this thing. So I need to let them feel, fearless and come and safe to come with answers. So I think that probably is one thing which I learned over the years, that it's not necessary to have all the answers. The leader doesn't have to have all the answers. Just that create the space where people feel comfortable, where they're willing to challenge you, where they're willing to say, look, I mean, this is what probably you think, but I have a different perspective, and then this is what I think may work. And if it's great, take it. I mean, there's no problem with it. So I think that probably is the biggest policy I had over the years, which changed once I started seeing what was happening. And everybody else is, see, the thing is, people are happy with whatever they are, but are they stepping out of the, people do what is expected, but then you need to go beyond, right? That extra mile is not happening. They're all doing very well, but no, they never came up with their own ideas or whatever. So I think maybe if you ask me, possibly the policy was that leaders need to have all the answers. They don't need to have all the answers. You create a space which is safe enough for other people to contribute and think
Think of
differently
yours.
and come up with different perspectives.
That's nice. In fact, that's what a true leader is. A leader is not the person who will be having all the answers and telling everything here and there, that do this, then this will happen, that will happen. But as long as you create the space for them to grow, that
Yeah,
is where the real leadership lies. You create a space for them to grow, you invite them, you guide them towards the process. There have been certain processes, certain times wherein people have come up to me and said that, Archana, what do I do in this process? My leader himself doesn't know this process. I said,
yeah,
of course, he will not know, because you are at a level right now where you're at the level of manager or senior manager. Your leader is again going to be at a higher level than you. He will not know the intricacies of your process.
yeah,
But go and inform him, go and tell him, he will be able to guide you towards the correct process. He may
yeah,
not be able to tell you the step one, step two, step three, but he will be able to tell you step five is wrong.
yeah,
So that is the thing. So please go and discuss. That's wonderfully, very well articulated by you. I really appreciate this. That
thank you.
we, as leaders, we think that we should be knowing everything. No, that's not the point. We should be able to guide the people under us to achieve the correct decision. That is what leadership is. Leadership is not knowing an answer to everything. Participants, please type agree if you agree to what Mr. Ravi just now stated. Please type agree in the chat box. We would love to hear from you. We have not just trainers here, but also people from the HR, people from the leadership front here. So I think they would be definitely agreeing to your point here. Hello,
Yes, thank
Mr. Rajiv. Nice to see you back again. So we have participants who are coming in repeated for the sessions, Mr. Ravi. So this is
you. Awesome.
really appreciated here. I'm not too sure how many in the participants list you would be knowing, but we have been doing this talk shows from almost 6 or 7 months. No, I started. Oh yeah, it's more than 6 months. It's 9 months or something. So these
Wow.
participants, they have been joining from day one, and now they are coming in again for so many number of sessions which we have held. So we have got getting repeated participants, and we have started building our own community as well. I'm not too sure if you would have joined in that community. So in the message at the bottom link, I have a community link. So they are my people who have kept it in their mind that every Saturday 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. I have to come regularly for the talk show. So
Okay.
whether I say all I have to do is just send across a message, this is the talk show, this is the speaker, and they will come. Whether
Awesome.
whosoever is the speaker, I have to come and learn something. So those kind of participants are here in the talk show. Okay, now coming across to the last interaction round. If a leader, he today wants to work on the hidden side, which we have discussed, emotions, beliefs, and behavior. What are
Mhm.
the 2 or 3 practical steps that we can start with immediately based on your own journey? So this is kind of like a summary of our entire discussion.
Yeah, I think what I said first, of course, the pause, notice, and that's one thing. But apart from that, I think one of the main things I feel is reflection. You need to reflect. That is very powerful actually, because what we do, we get into this auto mode. Get up in the morning, whatever time, and have a breakfast, rush to office, start work, blah blah, and then auto mode runs. So at one point in your career, things happen, because you're 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody ring you again. I'm talking from a salesperson perspective. You ask the number, they'll tell it promptly without a problem, because that's always running. Now we don't spend time reflecting. So I think that's an important part where you need to reflect. Maybe have a journal. To think through what happened to the end of the day, see what happened, what you did well, what could have been could have handled better. Have a weekly journal. Have a quarterly journal. Think about instances where you did a fantastic job. Pat yourself on the back and said, "Look, I think you really did great here. I know you cracked the situation." Or say, look, I screwed up, I should have done it differently. So that you have to be very honest with yourself. So I think that journaling is an important part, reflection is an important part. You can maintain a journal actually, whether written, which is the best form, actually have a journal. Otherwise, now of course the laptop and mobile or wherever. But daily, weekly, quarterly is just small points. You don't write huge number, just the bullet points, for what you thought went well. Second, I think probably could be uh, be open to feedback. Have somebody in your network who can give you honest feedback within your own, whether it could be your peers, your colleagues, your subordinates. There are some people who will openly tell you, look, you screwed up, right? But most people will not do that. So have those people who can give you the feedback, same time be open to feedback. Like we are not leaders, not necessarily are doing the right things all the time. So as long as and we can't have let ego come in. What the hell? No, he's reporting to me and he's a Jotu guy. What does he or she know? That's not a fact. Somebody may have a very valid point. So I think that's an important part. No? Especially nurture people who can give you open feedback and honest feedback. I think that is probably one thing. And third, I think important thing is what you tell yourself, the inner narratives are getting in your head, running all the time. We have something running all the time in our heads, right? So that is critical, because that's where, I'm not getting too many details, but you talk about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset, right? You sometimes, something goes amiss, things not happening the way it didn't happen, the way you expected. Suddenly the fixed mindset guy starts blaming himself or herself, like, oh my god, I'm a failure, I don't think I'm good enough. We start doubting ourselves. Whereas a growth mindset person would typically say, look, I mean, yeah, maybe it didn't go as planned, but what a lesson I learned from this, and how I'm going to fix it going forward. So I think that's a narrative in the head. All of us know that that what runs in the head is what will actually convert to our actions and words. So that's the inner game, and then the inner part of what happens in the head, and we need to have control over that. I think these are the probably the three things I would probably
Three things.
say. Yeah.
I love this point which you said. It's very simple, but it's absolutely true. Be open to feedback. As simple as it sounds, maybe some of us would be having this notion, but the point is, when you are, especially from the corporate front, I can tell you this, being open to feedback is extremely difficult. In fact, it's very much in line with what you stated at the previous response when you said that as leader we should be knowing everything. So now
Yeah.
imagine a person who has done probably a mistake or he wants an open feedback. He would be thinking this limiting belief will stop him from taking the feedback from the people.
Yeah.
That if I go and ask my junior this, what will he tell me? If I go and
Yeah.
ask this to my senior, will he stop me from going ahead in my next promotion cycle? So
Yeah.
that kind of limiting belief comes up. In fact, to tell you frankly, I'm not too sure if you would have seen that particular session, but during one of my sessions, one speaker, he was from a corporate front. He was not a founder or a co-founder. He was a person who was working as an HR in a reputed organization. He called me up after the event. In fact, not him. Another person called me up and asked that how was this particular session which went. I said it was very good. It went very fine. It was very interactive. I really liked it a lot. Then okay, the call went off. Then another person also called me asking again how was that particular session. I said, yeah, it was very good only. Why is everyone asking? Was there something specifically which you want to say? No, he was asking me to ask you how was the how was the session. I was like, oh my goodness, he can ask me that directly.
Directly.
Why
Yeah.
is it coming across from everyone? Then what I did is I called up that person and I said that, sir, I'm getting calls from lots of people and they're asking me that how was the session? I would love to have a discussion with you. Why am I getting calls from other people? He said, no, Archana, I did not know how it will be taken. So I thought that it will be good if some people come reach out to you and saying. So one aspect was he really wanted to get the feedback. At the same time, the limiting belief also came in. So
Yeah.
I said, sir, let that be aside and let me
Yeah.
have an open discussion right now with you. To tell you frankly, I love the session. This happened, that happened. We gave an open feedback of to how it went on. But I really loved him trying to approach me via this manner or the other manner that come what me. I need to get the feedback. How was the session?
Sure. Yeah.
I really appreciate it. I can totally relate to this. And now, before I even probably go over to the coaching session and all that, by the way, to the participants, let me inform you two things. Towards the end, I would be requesting you to turn on your video so that I can take a quick pic with all of you. We would love to have a memory of this interaction which we had with Mr. Ravi. And also, please do not leave this interaction thinking that it ends at 10:35 or 10:40. To tell you frankly, the interaction goes on till 11 a.m. because after this, we also have a quiz scenario. Please be staying with us till the quiz scenario. Now, Ravi, I could not stop myself from thinking of one more question. If I can go ahead with one more question right now, please.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So while we having this interaction, your session is one among the most interactive ones. The smiles on the faces and people staying back till the end is showing that they are loving the kind of an interaction and the answers, the insights which they are getting. So I would love to know one more thing from you.
Sure.
Can you share and okay, there you go. You also get a thumbs up from one person to who agrees to what I'm saying. Okay, can you share an instance where your emotional state or your behavior it directly influenced your team? Okay, either positively or negatively. I'll leave it to you. But can you share one kind of an instance, some on this scenario? What did that teach you specifically about your leadership presence? Of course, we know what needs to be done, what doesn't need to be done, but you also had it at the initial phase. I am a person of a reactive kind. Sometime maybe something like this would have happened. If you could please share.
Yeah. So the thing is, of course, like I said, the time when you become impatient and you kind of go off the handle. See, the team reflects your own mindset. Actually, typically leaders believe that a team is reacting, but they're just mirrors of whatever you're doing. That also takes time to realize, in a sense. So yeah, I mean, no. So when that happens, then people are just waiting for you to kind of settle down, and they may just pull back and not necessarily come up with solutions. But I remember once, there was a very difficult situation in the life of the organization itself, and okay, despite all the emotion business, I'm also very optimistic, in the sense that yeah, no matter what, I know I'll come through it. That's just I'm built that way. We have ups and downs, but you feel there's another day, tomorrow's another day types. I think
This is
most founders are like
one.
that.
Yeah, most entrepreneurs, most founders have this glass is full.
Yeah, so that is how it is. So once there was a very challenging situation, and I was really down. There was some stuff happening. I'm not getting the details, and I was down and sitting in my cabin. Suddenly, one of my she was one of our first employees actually, maybe the sixth or seventh employee. She wouldn't talk at all, and very quiet. No matter what, she just monosyllabic and all that. And this situation happened, and it was happening for a few days. One day, she just walked into my cabin, right, and knocked on. Ravi, can I? In fact, she didn't knock him. She just walked in actually, and said, "Can I have a conversation?" I said, "Fair enough," because it's very. She was with us by then till about 7, 8 years or whatever, right? She'd never spoken more than 5 words at a time. She sat down and spoke 1.5 hours. I was like stumped because she went on saying, "Look, this is not the end of the road. You can do it. It's Mount Everest, all that." And she gave some crazy this thing, and I was dumbfounded. And she was basically saying, "Don't give up. We'll come through this." I think that possibly was probably the most impactful somebody has spoken to me. It was technically she was part of the team. She was a junior person in that sense, number of years, but she had the audacity to walk in and say that, "Look, don't give up. We are standing with you." And 1.5 hours, literally 1.5 hours, she spoke, and I was just listening to her. After that, I said, "Great. I mean, this is fantastic," and I got back, bounced back. So it's happened, where so I feel that somewhere what you believe, your team will start. They may not immediately show it, they may not reflect it immediately, but it all these are subconscious stuff which happen. Even me, what I've learned, something I've learned consciously from people, whether it's our family, friends, subordinates, colleagues, bosses, whatever. A lot of it happens subconsciously also. So I think probably that incident stands out because that was the critical part of the organization itself, how it was going to move forward. Are we going to move forward, not move forward? So that's a very critical part. And this girl who walked up, who wouldn't say more than 4, 5 words at a time, 1.5 hours she was at it and motivating me and saying, "Look, don't worry, we'll come through this." I think that kind of stands out. You know, yeah.
Wow.
Once in a lifetime experience for me also. Yeah,
Yeah. Once in a lifetime.
for me personally, right? Nobody ever gave me that kind of a thing. Yeah,
That's true. These silent people will be always the ones who'll be, they'll be always keen observers.
yeah,
They are people, men with small words, silent
yeah,
words,
absolutely. Yeah,
less words. They are the ones who actually have lots of things in them.
yeah,
But yes, of course, the very fact that this person came up to you and openly stated shows that what kind of an open environment you would have created. So
yeah,
perceive people perceive lots. So maybe the
absolutely.
intention, the thought process, they were able to see, and she was able to reciprocate to it very well. So our leadership presence really shows in here that kind of an environment which he created, approachable, which we created. That's wonderful. So participants, I hope you remember the two things. Point number one, your video would be requested to turn on towards the end. Point number two, the scenario, the quiz session. Okay. So before we go for the quiz session, I would love to leave this start screen open to the other participants or even the audio. If you have any questions right now pertaining to the interaction which we had with Mr. Ravi, please feel free to raise your hand. I would be unmuting you or drop your message in the chat box. If you have any question, if you have any clarification, please feel free to raise your hands. Not getting any responses. Anyone? Miss Brinda, you're there. After a long time, I'm seeing you back. Okay, we'll probably give a few minutes because how to handle emotions. Okay, if you could, this is kind of like we had an entire discussion on that. Okay, we'll probably come back to this question towards the end. And if anybody has any question, please feel free to use the chat box and type your questions. Now, coming to the participants, the quiz session, as I had mentioned. So participants, all you all please ready? Please type ready in the chat box. And Mr. Ravi, we would love if I can get a small response towards the end on on Miss Ramya's question. That is how to handle
Emotions.
emotions. If you could get
Yeah,
it in short response.
yeah.
Okay. I got ready from only Mr. Raji. What happened to the other participants? Are you all ready for the quiz session? Thank you so much. Yes, Ms. Meena. Meena also says ready. So let me inform you what will happen here in the quiz session, Mr. Ravi. So I'm going to put forward some questions to the participants. A, B, C, D options will also be given, MCQ, and fastest fingers first. So it's based on the interaction which we had right now, and we'll get a response from the participants. Thank you so much, Mr. Jitendra Prakash, as well. Okay, so here's the first question. A leader reacts emotionally in a meeting and later regrets it. He emotionally reacts in a meeting, but he later regrets it. What should what should they do first? A, B, C, D. A, ignore it and move on. B, justify the reaction. C, reflect and acknowledge the trigger. D, blame the situation. A, B, C, D. So, which do you think is the right response, right reaction of the person? Meena says C. Thank you so much, Miss Meena. What about the others? Ramya also says E. Thank you so much, Ramya. Jitendra says E. Priyanka says E. C. C. Okay, sorry, C. Everyone says C. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, your point on response, and I really appreciate that everybody is staying till the end. Thank you so much. So here's a second question which comes across. A manager believes I must have always the answers. I must have all the answers always. So yes, what is the risk in a situation like this? Builds authority, increases pressure and limits team growth. C, improves efficiency, and D, reduces communication. What is the correct response here? A manager believes I must have all the answers. What is the risk? Wow, wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Raji, for being first here. Shahid, yes. Mr. B, okay. Praveen also says B. What about the others? Priyanka also says B. Yes, yes. The answers were very much easy, I guess, in this time. Okay, yes. It limits the growth. It limits the belief. We do not stop. We make them think that, as Mr. Ravi stated, क्या फायदा लास्ट में रवि तो कर ही लेंगे. Okay, yes. Now coming across to the third question, the last question. A leader's stress is visible and effective team morale. What should the leader do? A leader's stress is visible and is affecting the team morale. What should the leader do? A, hide the emotions completely. B, acknowledge and regulate behavior consciously. C, ignore the team reactions. And D, push harder on target. A, B, C, or D. This is probably making them think. Okay, acknowledge and regulate behavior consciously. Yes, be open to feedback. This actually resonates with your response over there. Be open to feedback. Thank you so much to all the participants. You were so fast, and at the same time, you were so quick in giving the reaction. Okay, let's go for probably one more question on this. Okay, what is the first step to improving leadership behavior? One more question. What is the first step to improve leadership behavior? These are the four options which are displayed in front of us. Okay, that's so good. All right. Learning frameworks, giving feedback, building self-awareness, or increasing control. These four options you have A, B, C, or D. B. Thank you so much. Giving feedback, is it? Okay. C, that is building self-awareness. I'll repeat the question. What is the first step to improve leadership behavior? Okay. Meena also says B. All right. Okay. So I think this question was very much required. B and C, A. It's a mixed thing which is coming in. All the previous ones, the answer was very much obvious. I would say in this one, it is always building self-awareness and then comes into giving the feedback, receiving the feedback. It is always building the self-awareness. We need to know where we are standing. That is where the leadership fund comes in. And then beyond that are the actions. First is we need to know what it is, and then comes the actions which we are taking. So keeping the control, giving the feedback, increasing the control, the learning framework, these are all the actions. But first and foremost, we need to know where we are standing. Okay, so now over to you, Mr. Ravi. We had one question from a participant who said, how can we control emotions? If you could probably answer that in a single line. This is like very difficult because we had an entire discussion on that. Okay, Brinda has raised her hand. Yes, Brinda, I've given you an option to unmute. Yeah, I've given you. Oh, sorry. Okay, I've given an option to Brinda to unmute us. Yeah. So Brinda also has a question. Maybe you can add an answer of Ramya to this question. Yes, Brinda, please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, in the middle, I had some, technical issue from my side, so I couldn't
That's
really
no issue.
respond to
Thank you
you.
so much
Yeah,
for joining.
yeah. Mr. Ravi, my question to you is, in your experience, how should a leader balance empathy and accountability, without compromising either, especially in a situation like high pressured environment of healthcare, domain, because being a head of HR for a healthcare industry, it's more difficult for me to balance between empathy and accountability.
Yeah, I think that's a tough one actually, because sometimes people balancing is very very difficult. Believe me, because you let your personal thoughts overcome the accountability part and stuff. So that's a, I think, not the easiest of things to do, because you but somewhere we have to, like I said, the bigger picture is there, in terms of what, you can't see. The thing is, it builds a culture also. Sometimes you are empathetic to some person, and then you are forced to overlook a few things, which is the problem, because see, culture is normally you not, leaders should understand culture is not what you put on the framed, photographs and not posters and stuff like that. It's what you overlook. See, that's the whole point. Because the minute you start overlooking, that becomes the culture of the organization. It's not what you do, but what you overlook. So, which means if you're overlooking something because of your empathy towards somebody or for whatever reason, right? Immediately others start following it. So I think the keeping the bigger picture in mind is very important. Empathy is fine, but after a point, you need to take a call where is it going to impact the culture itself, and we see it happen all the time, because you also, because if you're close to somebody, in the sense that even HR normally is, personally I know every single team member of mine, the entire family history, everything I know, because I normally am there before we, over the years, thousands of people I've been I've met every single person we recruited. The plus is great, but the negative is, any situation you'll always feel okay, fine, but she doesn't have a father, and she's the sole breadwinner, all the thing happens ahead, but then you have to be very this thing over it. Yes, that's one part, but is it going to impact the rest of the team, rest of the organization, stuff like that? So I think that's something which is not a one word or one sentence answer, but it takes practice, and over time you need to understand that, look, I mean, no, empathy is great, one has to have empathy, but not the cost of it having a negative impact on other people, so that's I think the key. I know, because it's a session by itself actually, empathy versus accountability. But I would say it's not an easy one, but need to keep in mind how it could impact the culture if you overlook something. You can't overlook, because then the next person will say, the minute you do that, next person will say, but you did it to her, you did it to him, and you overlooked that.
Exactly.
Typically it's going to happen, right? So yeah, maybe we should have another session on that. And
I'll have a session on this.
but it's a very interesting topic. Believe me, it's not easy at all, right? But coming to emotions, the earlier thing, I mean, we discussed that. Personally, I feel that pause is very important, because when you're an emotional person, you react immediately. So create that pause, little bit of gap between the stimulus and the response, or reaction, not response, reaction. Typically, create that pause, notice what's happening inside you, ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And then make the choice of responding with intention, and not immediately as a knee-jerk reaction. So I think emotions, the giving a pause is the most critical part of handling your own emotions.
Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you
Ravi. I
so
hope
much.
that answers your question, Ms. Brinda.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This is not something which will come over a day. We have to keep practicing it over a number of years.
Yeah.
Okay. So now the participants, I request you to please turn on your video so that we can take a pic. By the way, we are still waiting towards the end. Participant, please turn on your video. I really request you all to please do that so that we can take a quick pic. Okay. Mr. Praveen, thank you so much, Ms. Priyanka, Ramya, okay. Rashmi, Priyanka, Jitendra are still not able to. That's fine. We'll take a quick pic with all of you. So the people who are here, I'll take a pic. Okay, on the count of three. As you will, this one, I'll leave it in diary. Okay. So on the count of three, 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay, so the message, the pic is there in the chat box. You may please download it. I'm going to anyways upload it onto LinkedIn. If you have a LinkedIn ID to which I have not connected with you, please feel free to drop it right now in the chat box so that I can connect with you and I can tag you in the pic as well. Now coming across to Miss Meena. So you're there, Miss Meena? Yes. So you would love to go for a quick wrap up with Miss Meena?
Yes. Yes, Archana. Thank you, Ms. Archana, for the handover. My name is Meena Gohil, and I'm a soft skill trainer. It was truly an insightful session, and I'm sure everyone here found it extremely valuable. Before we conclude, here is an important announcement. We are on various social media platforms, and our YouTube link is shared in the chat box. Please subscribe to our channel. Also, if you haven't joined our WhatsApp community, please do join. Your number will remain private and you'll receive regular updates. We are also excited to share our paid training programs: Pronunciation Lab, Presentation Lab, Writing Lab. Details are shared in the chat box. I now hand over the session to MS Archana.
Thank you so much, Ms. Meena, for the beautiful introduction. Participants, if you're not there in the community, I request you to join the community because I do not usually send individual messages to the people. I'm working out on settings for that. I'm able to send out the message only in the community regarding the updates of the various training programs. Every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., regularly holding the talk show. Please join in the announcement section in the community. In the announcement section, your number will remain private. If you join the public group, your number is going to be open. So if you want to be restricted from your number to be seen to people, please feel free to join in the announcement section. Only I'll be seeing it right now. Okay. And also, second thing, as I mentioned, the WhatsApp business restrictions are there. I cannot send out messages to so many number of people. My WhatsApp then gets banned. That is thing which probably many of us would not be aware of. I'm working on the settings for that. Once that is done, we can expect number of people to a large number of people to come in for the session as well, because I'm very happy with the kind of sessions which you are getting from the speakers who are giving so many beautiful insights. Wonderful. But unfortunately, we are able to come up to this kind of participant strength. I'm really looking forward for a much more participant strength, and that will come in only if I'm able to get all of you active in the community. So please join in the community. It will be very much helpful. Now, before we close, a heartfelt thank you to Mr. Ravi Pratap Singh. Participant, please try thank you, Mr. Ravi, for sharing such deep and perfective insights today. Today's session really reminded us that our leadership is not just about what we do, it's about how we think, feel, and show up every day. Thank you to everyone who has participated so actively. Please follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. Join our WhatsApp community to stay connected. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Have a thoughtful and impactful week ahead, and we'll see you all next Saturday.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everybody.
ma'am.
Thanks, Archana. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Anybody who has all right. Everybody is saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful. Really. Thanks a lot, Mr. Ravi, for taking our time from your schedule. It's really appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Archana. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.